Hi guys, I'm Anita and I'm back with another video. Today I want to share with you my weekly wrap up of the past week, what I've been finishing over the week. I had this week off and I definitely have read through quite a few things. I ended up finishing 4 books and 3 of them were physical reads and 1 of them was an audio. But then I caught a cold of some kind on Thursday, so that slowed down my reading a little bit, but still I'm happy with my reading over the week. That's definitely fine. The first thing that I finished over the past week was Renegade Protector by Nico Rosso. This is the first book in this companion. I already read this other book last year. Renegade Protector follows this woman who has she owns an apple orchard and has been making different things from her apples and stuff and selling it in a store, and someone has been coming to her and wanting to buy her land because they think that they could do a lot of stuff with that, and it interferes with their own problems. But she says no, obviously, because she wants to keep it. But then ever since she said no to this, someone has been harassing her and trying to run her out of her business and scaring her off. And it just gets more and more worrisome as the closer we get to the start of this book, whatever. And in the beginning of this book, she is attacked outside of her store when she's leaving, and at the same time, a man comes and rescues her, who she saw in the store earlier that day. And he is from a police department in San Francisco, but he's sort of vacationing in the small city. But he knows about her situation somehow, and yeah, he decides he wants to help her and protect her from these people and get her out of the situation that she's in. So in that way it's very, very interesting, and it has a lot of things going for it. It was very high stakes things happening all the time. I read this for my category romance vlog that you will be able to see. I will link it up here. I uploaded it earlier in the week. I liked it, but I prefer probably my suspense books like this being a little bit more of a build-up before the action-packed things happen. I mean, sometimes it works out well for me. It depends a lot on the characters as well. I think that the characters lacked a little bit. I like that we followed it from a black male perspective, and our female woman, she was I think she was Mexican, maybe, a part Mexican. She was speaking Spanish a couple of times over the book at least. So yeah, I don't know exactly, but I think that's how sort of she has some sort of descent to that. So that was interesting, but overall I didn't love the romance and I didn't love the characters themselves, and then they had a secret that happened, miscommunication thing, that led to the 3rd act breakup, and yeah. So overall I liked it, but I gave it 3.5 stars. It was definitely not my favorite. I would have liked a little more from each and everything in here, but it wasn't bad or anything. I still had a fun time reading it. The next thing that I finished was again for the same Harlequin project. That was Cowboy in Disguise by Allison and Leigh. This is actually a special edition book. Maybe I should put the cover here. I forgot to do that before, but I'll put the cover of it here. This is a 6th book in the Fortunes of Texas Hotel Fortunes, and I read the first one in this series back when I did the category romance project and reading through special edition, tried out special edition, and I liked that one as well. But it was interesting because I mean I said it in the beginning of the vlog that it was from this series, but I completely forgot about that again. So when I picked it up, I'd forgotten about it again. And then I read it and I was like, there's some of these characters that seem similar. Is it the Hotel Fortunes? And also it was set on a hotel, obviously. So yeah, I figured out it was the same series. Oops. But it was fun. I enjoyed it. It follows this woman who is a fortune in this one. She is called Allison, and her brothers are owning the hotel, part owners of the hotel. But her father just dislikes this and wants her to live in New York, but then she decides to move to this small town. I forgot what it's called right now. Anyway, it doesn't matter. And she moves in with her brother while trying to figure out what she's going to be doing. And then we have our male lead who is working at the hotel as a sort of a sort of trainee function. He's helping out where it needs be, trying to get some income that way. He's sort of also hiding a little bit away from things that happened in his previous life when he lived in LA. And he's living with his grandmother. One of the things that I really enjoy about the special edition novels, compared to the other books that I read for the Harlequin romance thing this time around, is that there's some more for family feeling in it, because you have the more extra focus and time to build up the character relations with, besides the romantic couple as well. And that's something I really enjoy from these longer category romances, like the special edition and the heartwarming, because this was definitely closer to 300 pages than it was to 200 pages. So I have a couple of more pages to build some characters around them, and I really enjoyed it. I ended up giving this book 4 out of 5 stars. It's definitely a very, very solid book. I didn't like there was again a miscommunication thing. He kept a secret from her, and I knew it was going to be the conflict of the book, and I don't like that trope. But it was handled okay, but I still prefer when it's not happening, so that's why I knock off half a star or whatever it would be. Because I definitely enjoyed the romance in itself, and I like the characters, and I thought that there was a sort of little mystery thing happening alongside, because someone was trying to sabotage the hotel and not knowing really why and who was doing this, and then there was sort of a solution to that, and I like how they handled it. It wasn't super dramatic, because it doesn't need to be in this type of romance. It's not like it's an intrigue, so it would have been wrong if it was too dramatic. So I liked how they handled that part as well. So yeah, that's it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, so I definitely recommend it, and I'm definitely going to be reading the other books in the series so far. The 2 books I've read from this series are both from 2 different authors, so the authors aren't the same, but I like them, and it makes sense because the characters aren't the same in the books as well, so you can definitely change authors in a series like that. Sorry, I have such a clog in my ear. I feel like I've least yeah, and my nose. The next thing I feel like that was Gustav Gloom and the Four Terrors. This is a short little middle grade audiobook that I was listening to over the week. I started it on Monday when I was doing some gardening work, and I've been listening to it as I was doing sort of errands over the week. I haven't been listening to a whole lot of audio while I've been off from work, so yeah, but I still have listened to some of it. Anyway, this is the third book. It's the 3rd book in the Gustav Gloom series, and in this one, Gustav and his I forgot what our main female character is called, but she is sort of, her dad is sort of a scaredy cat, and he very sort of safety focused, so safety first focused, and so he doesn't like when his kids run out to somewhere he's not comfortable with, and he has he really likes Gustav, but he doesn't like the house that he's living in, because it's full of these different gloomy things, and he's a little bit uncertain what's going on in there, because there's shadow people and all of that, which is something you learn from the beginning of the series. But they have to go and see Gustav, and so they have to say he goes with them so that they can go and see him and figure things out, because Gustav was in trouble and he asked for him. So yeah. And so they go there, and then he has to sort of show him, like, he has to go somewhere with Gustav, I forgot what it's called. So he says, we go first, we will have to see what is going on. So Gustav and him escapes into a room or stairs or whatever, and our main character and her sister is staying behind. But then things start happening, and they sort of get muddled into this little scary adventure inside this house, and somehow the Four Terrors have escaped from their sort of imprisonment, and yeah, it runs from there. I really enjoyed this one. I thought it was I feel like it was better than the other books in the series so far, but it's been so long since I read them, and I still gave those 4 stars, so it's not like we're bad or anything, but I enjoyed my time with it. I had a lot of fun, and I still give them 4 stars, so it's not like the rating has upped itself, but I just felt like this one had a lot of things going for it, and also this one ends a little bit of a cliffhanger thing. everything is definitely not, there's no solution to the problem by the end of this book, so you have to, like, this is a serious continuation where you have to go on to the next book to figure out what's going to happen. So in that way it was definitely different than the other books, because they were sort of solved by the end of the book. So the mystery started and finished in the same book, but this one, the mystery goes on to the next book, which is the first time that's happened for this series. And I like that. I've said before I don't like my mysteries taking place in more than one book, but that's when characters are changing. I don't like, I want my, if there's a romance happening, I want that to be there, everything to be solved in that, and then we follow a new couple and it could be a new problem. But I don't like it when it's, I don't mind it when it's like the same characters you follow through multiple books with the same mystery, if you get what I mean. So that's what I wanted to say about that. The fourth and last and final thing that I finished over the past week was Night of Darkness by Kinley MacGregor. This has been my buddy read with Shannon from Shannon Riddler, and we've been taking so long to read this. I don't know what happened. We actually enjoyed it. It wasn't like it was so bad. We really disliked the first book in this series, that we with the Arthurian Legends thing, but this one was a lot better than the other one. The pacing was better, the characters were more interesting, and you had a lot of the lesser known legends happening in this one compared to the other. But there are a couple of things in here that also didn't really get resolved, and there's no more books in this, so I don't know. I ended up giving it, I think, 3.5 stars. I definitely enjoyed it. Or maybe it's 3 stars. Maybe 3 stars is better. I liked it, but it's not my favorite in the series so far. I hope when you get back to the normal Dark Hunter series next, it would be a lot better and the pacing would be better. But there's definitely some interesting characters in here that I really have enjoyed following. But then there are some things that, yeah, that just didn't make sense overall. I can't really talk much about the specifics because it's the second book in a series, but it, as I said, it's a historical set, romance, paranormal romance kind of thing with Arthurian legends, and I was super excited about the first one. I disliked it, but this one was a lot better, as I said. And so these were all of the books that I finished over the past week. I feel like I've had a really successful week, though. I know that this one I didn't have super many pages left, but you know, credit due where credit is due, right? I've also worked on the Dream Fever by Karen Marie Moning. I have now, I think, 60 pages, 70, 80 pages, 75 pages left. So I've definitely made progress. Yeah, it's 480 pages and I'm on page 400. So I'm 80 pages into, I have 80 pages left. It won't take me long. There's definitely something happening. I couldn't read on any longer, so yeah, that happened. Another book that I've been working on over the past week has been The Will of the Many by James Islington. I have made progress and I'm about a third of the way. I'm about 200 pages in. I'm on page 187, so, and a lot of things have already happened. I'm very intrigued, especially like the last chapter was very horrifying to read, actually. So I'm looking forward to seeing what will happen after this, what is going to happen with the characters. We are still, our main character is still not at the academy yet, but I like getting to know the world. The characters we've been introduced to are all pretty interesting, and writing style is very easy to understand, with a sort of not super complex but still relatively complex fantasy magic system, if you will. No pun intended. Anyway, this magic system sort of is how you use will to sort of create power with everything around. Electronic powers and whatever. And then the people are divided into sections of different castes, sort of rankings and stuff of how many will they have. The vast majority of people are sextuses, which have 56 people that they receive their will from, and the lowest part is Octavus, which our main character is actually one of those, I believe. But he does have some will, so I don't know. But he was an orphan, and one of the things I think is interesting, he's an orphan, but he is a survivor of the old, before the cataclysm happened, and no one knows who she is. He's hiding his identity because he's actually a prince from this world. His parents were killed when the sort of cataclysm happened, and so that gives him makes him an interesting character to follow, and an interesting, yeah, it creates some interesting plot points at least so far. What is he going to use it for? He has a different agenda than the others in this world, because he definitely wants, he doesn't like the hierarchy, the way that it's formed, and but he also has a sort of viewpoint that's different than other people who don't like the hierarchy. So it's very interesting, and I'm looking forward to seeing what will happen in the future. So I've annotated this, and I'm doing a sort of reading vlog of it, and I will post it whenever I finish it. So we'll see how long that takes. I haven't had a lot of reading. I thought I would have read more at this point, but due to me being sick on Thursday, when I actually more or less, I started this on Wednesday, and I was thinking Thursday I'm just gonna read the majority of the day, but then I got sick with fever, and so I didn't have really the concentration that I needed in order to read a lot. So I read only like a couple of sections of it, and I'm getting into it in the beginning took a little bit long. I'm reading about 37 pages an hour, averagely speaking, on average. So it's not fast, but it's also because I'm annotating it. So obviously it takes more time because I'm stopping and sort of highlighting things. I'll put in the tabs later, so they're not part of the actual reading time. They're just something I add later on. I think that's easier for me. But I'm enjoying it, and I can't wait to figure out what's going to happen. I definitely understand why it has been so hyped over the past year. So happy that at least I'm having success with that one. So I've had a really good reading month. What did you read over the past week? Have you read any of the books that I've been talking about today, and what were your thoughts on them if you did? Let me know in the comments down below. These are the 3 physical books that I have. I'm so happy I have 3 books that I have moved to my red shelf now, instead of having them on my TBR shelf, so that's been a good week in that way. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. If you stuck this to the end, we'll see what happens. I'm starting back at work next week, so audio time will definitely be more. Reading time, I don't know if it'll be less, but it will definitely be different. So we'll see what happens. And yeah, if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video very soon. Goodbye.